Hey guys, how's it going? Today I figured I'd make a quick video on how I went about conceptualizing the innervation of the plantar muscles of the foot. Of course, taking the time to figure out what works best for you will be better for your own individual understanding of the foot and its many components. However, that often takes time, and we don't always have that. So that being said, the way I approached the innervation of the foot muscles was by grouping them, which shouldn't be anything new, but it's nice to see a visual sometimes. I grouped the muscles by origin, so it does help to have previously gone over the muscles' origins, or at least have an okay understanding of where each muscle is. The first group I like to do is around the fifth metatarsal and the lateral aspect of the fourth metatarsal. This blob will represent the superficial branch of the lateral plantar nerve, and you'll see later that the muscles that originate in this blob will also be innervated by the superficial branch of the lateral plantar nerve. Next to it, our next purple blob will represent the deep branch of the lateral plantar nerve, and believe it or not, that covers most of the innervation already. Next will be this pink color representing the lateral plantar nerve. The reason I don't like to start with the lateral plantar nerve and then go into its branches is because it has a more obscure shape. But honestly, I think we can handle it. Now, the last nerve we need to worry about is the medial plantar nerve, which is probably the weirdest quote-unquote shape. It's more like just blobs on the medial aspect of the foot. But what I did was learn the lateral plantar nerve and its superficial and deep branches and just assume everything else was the medial plantar nerve. However, I know each and every one of you are striving for greatness, so we'll briefly cover the medial plantar nerve also. The nerve is mostly straightforward, except for one thing you may need to remember, and that is the first lumbrical muscle, which, if you choose this method to conceptualize and group your pedal muscular innervation, you might confuse the first lumbrical muscle, forgetting that it's actually in the lighter blue color and not the purple color. But we'll go through the layers of the muscles, and you see it really shouldn't be that confusing after all. The first layer of muscles originates primarily on the medial and lateral tubercles of the calcaneal tuberosity. Comparing their origins to our first graphic, we can see the medial plantar nerve covers our two medial muscles, and the lateral plantar nerve covers the abductor digiti minimi, which is lateral. Pretty straightforward so far. The second layer of muscles is comprised of a proximal and distal set of muscles. The proximal muscle originating here, and the distal group of muscles, the lumbricals, originating on the tendon of a leg muscle, the flexor digitorum longus. However, knowing their origin still correlates to our first graphic, and now seeing that the first lumbrical is the quote-unquote exception muscle, not only by having a slightly different origin than the others, but it also spills into our light blue color. Therefore, without even thinking about it, you know the first lumbrical is innervated by the medial plantar nerve and the other three by the deep branch of the lateral plantar nerve. I think you guys get the rest. The last bit here of the third layer really depends on your knowledge of the origins of the muscles and knowing which ones are distal and which are more proximal. As far as the fourth layer goes, the most lateral plantar and dorsal interosseous muscles spill into where we have our green color and thus innervated by the superficial branch of the plantar nerve. Remember that this grouping method groups them by origin. Don't get confused if a muscle's insertion is in a different area. Remember that the first and second dorsal interosseous muscles may also get some innervation from the deep fibular nerve. Which reminds me to emphasize the importance of me being human. I make mistakes, and there are always plenty of hidden exceptions that hopefully I didn't miss, but full disclosure, this is definitely meant to be more of a study aid than anything. Hopefully I minimized mistakes, because the last thing I want to do is spread fake news, and especially now that this is being recorded, it's actually a little more stressful. So definitely don't take anything I say as being final. Just thought this might help simplify the complexity of what you guys are learning.